Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessTrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody had a good day of trading. Only thing I ask you guys, if you like what we're doing, take a moment out, click a like, support the channel again, and hopefully I will continue to point you in the right direction. So, I know a lot of people are thinking it right now, so I'm going to say it. Okay, if you're fragile or you're a little bit thin-skinned, you might want to leave the room for a few minutes. But I'm going to say it anyway. So we've been talking about now for the last week or so that even though the market is still very, very strong, right, you're starting to see a pattern of a little bit of heaviness here and there, here and there, here and there. And when you look at today's action, and again, you're not going to see anything by the scoreboard. Dow up 179 points. S&P up 4, the NASDAQ up down 82 points. But the one thing that I did notice today, and if you trade for a long time, there's usually like a pattern, right? Like a pattern of certain stocks moving, certain stocks not moving, and there's a sequence of events that usually follows after. There's a theory, if you've been trading long enough, you kind of know that once or twice a year, you'll get these jewels of the septic tank, right? The shortest dwarfs. What I mean is basically stocks have been left for dead for the whole year. All of a sudden, they wake up and massive speculation money starts roaming it up. And when you look at a lot of names, for example, and again, I'm going to show you 3 examples. But yeah, if you traded today, you kind of know there's been a lot of names. You started seeing incredibly exaggerated moves on stocks that you would never think in a million years could put up these moves. So let's start off first with Kohls. Yeah, Kohls. Now you're going to turn around and say, Dan, what's Kohls? Why is Kohls went today at one point pretty much doubled from last night's close. Okay. I still don't know what the news was. I don't care what the news was. But the point was, there was, I believe somebody said somebody on Reddit and this, that, and the third. Moral of the story is Kohls doubled today at one point. Kohls at no point in its life should be doubling at any day, right? Have you been to Kohls? I've been to Kohls once, okay? Look at a stock like Krispy Kreme donuts. If you're old enough to remember, Krispy Kreme donuts, the old symbol used to be KKD. Now it's donut. Right? Now it's donut. So donut today had all day, $5 calls. All day, $5 calls, $5 calls, $5 calls, $5 calls. So it was already up 87 cents on a $3 stock, which was great, to begin with. And guess what happens after the close? The stock is almost $6, right? This is called Euphoria. This is called panic. Then all of a sudden, this other stock, FFAI, right? FFAI, okay, blah, 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 FFAI, okay? So the damn thing, when the stock was like at 240, 250, they started coming for the 350 weeklies. They started coming for September $7.50 calls. And the stock goes from, 240, which was basically up like, 15 cents on the day, to as high as the 320, okay? Things like that are usually happening when there is a cycle. And again, I'm not saying it, I'm just saying, got to be prepared, right? Got to be careful. When a cycle is about to, I don't want to use the word end, but at least pause, right? The children of the septic tank shouldn't be running wild as runners that had an incredibly big move, like an NVIDIA, right, are losing their footing, are losing the previous day's lows, right? A name like Amazon, right? Starting to get a little bit heavy, right? Names like Meta, for example, right? Starting to get a little bit heavy, and on and on and on and on. So it's a vicious cycle, and it usually happens around once or twice a week. Again, all you guys know, they've been training for a long time. You kind of know what I'm talking about. The last group that always goes up is these, right? These stocks that just pop out of nowhere. So am I saying this is the end of the bull market? Absolutely not. I still believe there is a massive rotation. I'll give you guys some pretty good examples of where the rotation potentially can go. But right now, if you feel that you are in the middle of a kind of, I like when somebody used the word frothy, the word frothy in the webinar today. If you feel like we're in a little bit of a frothy environment, you're probably right, right? You're probably right. So in this matter, and we've been talking about this for about a week or so, week and a half or so, I keep on reiterating the point, guys, the stocks that made their big runs, leave them alone because they're the first ones to get pulled. That's why NVIDIA got pulled. That's why, a lot of these names that you follow got pulled today, right? They got pulled very, very aggressively. I actually trade, like, for example, I actually traded Circle today, right? I actually traded today's Circle to the downside. And again, the point is, when you have big runs and you have, a stock that's up like 600% since June, that's going to be the first one to get pulled. So again, be very, very careful, right? Be very, very careful in the next couple of days. I always believe in the theory is I'd rather be prepared for the, to the downside and for it to not play out than to be going into any trading day eyes wide shut and have them pull a massive rug pull underneath my feet. So it's very, very important to understand that. So for example, like look at Microsoft, right? Everything's fine with Microsoft. Everything's absolutely fine. Here's my point. You see how many times Microsoft has held the 10-day support? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Okay. Today was day 6. Now, what happens if Microsoft loses this 10-day support? Obviously, the stock is great, right? The stock is great. Nobody's saying it's going to go to 420. But the point is, if that happens and these semiconductors and these softwares and these cloud names and everything else on the sun continue to be heavy, okay, while there's a run in the insane asylum by the inmates, you got to be careful, man. These things could actually get pulled, and you can see how delicate these structures are. So again, be wary, guys. Just be protective. Don't go into any single trading day. You can continuously to buy these strong high flyers day in, day out. Higher highs, keep on pushing because, again, you need to listen to the signs. And I've said this all the time. I'm not trying to be right. I'm not trying to call tops. I'm not trying to call bottoms. I'm trying to be prepared every single day. I'm trying to collect the data that I know that if I'm right on the data and there's confirmation to the other side, I'll at least be prepared. So it's very, very important to kind of, open up your eyes and stop sipping the Kool-Aid and, just realize that there is both sides of the market. I've been saying this for years and years and years. I'd rather be one day early than one day late, right? It's very, very important to understand it because if you are one day late, you potentially can have a very, very nasty outcome for something that you worked very, very hard to build, and you could lose it on one candle today. And we saw that very, very aggressively. If you look at the middle of the day, there was a rumor today, right? There was a rumor that Powell was actually going to resign. And look what happened in the middle of the day, folks. Look at this. This is NVIDIA, right? This is NVIDIA in the middle of the day. This is Amazon in the middle of the day. All of them, right? All of them, one by one, same thing. The stocks that were big high flyers, they all got pulled down in the middle of the day. And that's my point, folks. So there's going to be a lot of nonsense that you see on social media, but eventually something could be true. And we've been saying this for years. The market does not need a reason to pull back. I still perfectly think the market structure as a whole is fine, especially as these stocks are going absolutely nuts. But at some point, you got to take a step back and go, wait a minute, is this too far, too fast? The redheaded stepchildren is starting to run now. It's time to me be a little bit more defensive in my approach. You still want to participate to the upside, but just be wary of the previous day's channels so you don't get caught on a potential backside intermediate move. So it's very, very important. So let's talk about it, right? Tesla continues to build above the 50-day moving average. So far, it's put in from the reclaim of the 50-day moving average from high to low, roughly about a 17-point move today, traded all the way up to 335, a couple points shy of yesterday's channel. I'm still holding my runner. I will be out of my runner tomorrow ahead of earnings. The only bad thing about Tesla reclaiming back the 50-day moving average a couple of days ago, like we talked about in the weekend video, we only had a 3-day window for a run into earnings. So far, a pretty good run. I mean, let's be honest here. So far, it's a pretty good run. But the problem is, I'm not taking anything to earnings. I'm okay with that. If Tesla goes nuts tomorrow after hours into earnings, God bless, right? I don't care. I don't trade stocks knowingly into earnings. If the stock dies into earnings, no harm, no foul. But hopefully, I'm hoping we could get one more run out of it tomorrow. I would love to see Tesla take out yesterday's highs. And if it could test out yesterday's highs, maybe we could get a run potentially into the 340s. They did come in pretty aggressively today for the 340 and the 345 calls. The odd thing that we did not see today, and again, this doesn't mean it's going to be a good quarter or a bad quarter, but the one thing that I did not see today versus other years on just major mega cap stocks, there wasn't really huge, deep out of the money calls. I did see one guy and I started laughing. A buyer came in for the February 2026 $600 calls, 300 grand. I was like, what happened here? Did they run out of the 400 and the $500 calls? So obviously somebody's making a wishful bet. But the point is, I haven't seen really 350s, 370s, some, but nothing like really aggressively. So pretty good trade. Pretty good trade on Tesla so far. Let's see if we can get one more push tomorrow ahead of earnings. If you are taking Tesla into earnings, good luck. It's 50-50. I am not. I just want to get one more push for my runner to see how high we can get for tomorrow. And I definitely will be out of the trade by tomorrow. Google comes out also tomorrow. You have a continuation of $200 weekly calls being bet pretty aggressively. Again, we don't know, folks. The one thing about earnings, you can physically have the earnings right in your hands, and you just don't know how the stock is going to react. Case in point, we talked about this a couple of days ago. Netflix beat top, beat bottom, and gave pretty good guidance, and the stock sold all 4%. So your guess is as good as mine. So anybody that tells you they know what's going to happen on earnings, okay, I have a bridge to sell you somewhere, right? The damn bridge. Anyway, very, very important to that. So again, good luck tomorrow if you are in Google or in Tesla long term. Obviously, after Tesla reports their earnings and Google reports their earnings, will give us a little more clarity which way those stocks are going to trade. So it's very, very important to understand that earnings are a gamble. And again, I just did this trade to get the run up into Tesla, and so far it's been a pretty good trade. So let me give you guys some ideas, right? Let me give you guys some ideas for the next day. They're not what you think, right? They're not what you think. They're definitely not what you think as far as technology names. I got some names. Well, some of them are technology names. I got some names that look pretty good. Okay. Let me give you guys a couple of names here. Here, just to give you an example. Look at Bolt. Right? Look at Webull, just to give an example of another stock that could potentially go nuts, right? And again, it's not really my thing. I'm not going to put my money behind it, but look at Webull. Webull had a big move a couple of days ago, rested yesterday, resumed today. If it starts getting back above the highs from 2 days ago, this thing could light up. They did come in with like $18 calls. You never know. This thing could really light up. So keep an eye on this thing. Pony, right? Pony had a big run. Look at the common denominator, right? Pony had a big run that started in May when it reclaimed the 50-day moving average. And when it reclaimed the 50-day moving average, it went from $11.50 all the way up to $21. You see where it stopped today? It stopped right at the 50-day moving average. So keep this pony on watch tomorrow. If this thing could get back above the 50-day moving average, there was a buyer who came in for, I believe it was the 1750s. No, the 17s. The August 15 expiration for the $17 calls. So keep an eye on this thing. This thing does have a history of potential run-ups. If it reclaims back the 50-day moving average, it can wake up as well. So keep an eye on that. A buyer came in on Carvana. Size buyer came in on Carvana for the 355 weeklies, right? It's gotten rejected now 3 days in a row off the 10-day moving average. Keep an eye on this thing. If this thing starts rebuilding back above the 10-day moving average. This thing could wake up as well. UPST looks pretty good. A buyer came in today for the weekly 83 calls. Odd buyer, but came in for the weekly 83 calls. This has been going through distribution 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tomorrow will be day 10. 2 weeks worth of desperation. 2 weeks worth of consolidation. If it gets back above this area, maybe this thing could wake up. And the last one, well, I got a couple more names. Look at, for example, Target. Look at the setup here on Target. Looks really, really good. Look at Lennar, right? These home builders are starting to pop as well. So there's definitely areas of the market that is getting rotation, right? Are they the greatest trading stocks in the world? No, but the point is, if money comes out of technology, and that's a very, very big if, but if money does come out of something, it has to go into something else, because at the end of the day, we are still in a melt-up market. So anyway, guys, hopefully you guys who are trading Tesla and Google tomorrow night into earnings, hopefully the coin flips in your direction. I will be out of my Tesla runner before the end of the day tomorrow. And hopefully you guys, everything will come into fruition for yourselves. Guys, God bless everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. And God's help, I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.